Hello darlings. I thought for this Saturday we're going to do something a little different. I want to go ahead and make a peach cold pressed soap for so many reasons. Peach is my favorite scent, and making soap is something I'm just started to be passionate about because it's something I want to share with my Bombshell Beauties team, my Bombshell Betties. I want them each to have their signature scent, even if it's the same as mine, because scent gives us, it brings us back to a place of happiness. So in my mind, I thought if I surround myself with a scent I love, then I'll forever be happy, at least in a superficial sense. So I'm going to be making peach soap, so every time I wash my hands or wash my body, I'll be reminded of, you know, summer and the Okanagan and fresh peaches that you pick and all the juices and all that greatness. So we're gonna go ahead and make a peach soap today. It does take 30 days or so to cure. You have to check the pH because of the lye, and measurements are super important. So for the first step here, I'm gonna be measuring the sodium hydroxide, which is the lye, in the water. You have to measure these separately, and you should combine them outside. Always combine lye into water, not water into lye. This ingredient, these two simple ingredients together are going to get so hot that they're going to burn your hands. So you got to make sure that they're in a safe jar. I put them in my canning jar. I have my scale here, so I'm going to turn it on. Or not. I'll be back. Alright, here we go. So you can see right here it says 738 grams. So I'm going to hit tear here at the bottom, and it should zero it out. 0 grams. So we want 102.1 grams of distilled water. So this here at 107, I'm going to have to find a pipette and get it to 102.1. As I'm doing this, I realize I don't have a 0.1. So I got as close to 102 as I could. And now I'm got to go outside for the 51 grams of sodium hydroxide, which I'll be measuring in a different glass. I'll meet you out there. Alright, so here we go. I keep my lye outside and I keep it sealed to make sure that it's kept safe. This will burn your skin if it gets onto contact. So it's very essential that you cover up. So we want just under 51 grams of lye. We're at 13, 28. This is what turns soap into soap. This is what gives soap the ability to clean. Okay, we're almost there. We're at 46. Just turned 47. We're at 49 already. I want it just as it turns to 51. All right. Okay. Now we know why we needed to pay attention in science class, all right? For all these crazy things we're going to try as adults. I came to a place where I needed it to be more organic. I needed to ensure that the products that I was using for my family were safe. So from here, I pour the lye into my glass container. Slowly. I needed a bigger stick. And it will heat up to a really high temperature, and you have to wait for it to cool. So I mean, like, this jar will heat up to such a high temperature that it will burn your hands to touch. You should always label this. I keep this on such a high shelf that I think nobody will notice it, but every time I make it, My husband thinks that it's already heating up. It's water. And you don't want this just thrown out into the streets. So while that's cooling, and while that's heating up before it cools, I'm gonna get into the next step. See the condensation already growing in that glass? It is so hot to the touch. All right, back inside, I'm gonna get all the liquid ingredients ready. I also like to use like a teacup of sentimental value when curating anything, because I just feel there's a connection to the energy that used to use it before. So let's start with 106 grams of coconut oil. See, don't you remember doing this in biology or in science? Curating like this kind of takes me back to that time of friends and innocence and carefree, you know, you must know, science projects. So that's why I'm excited for my husband that he's starting school, even though he's incredibly nervous. I was nervous when I started again. Anytime we close a chapter and open a new one, it does get pretty scary. I can relate and understand. So we're at 86, we have to get to 106. 95, 98, yep, 105, okay? And when you're working with oils, it's like so tricky because it melts so fast if you like touch it with your hands. Here's 106. Not yet? Okay, there. 109, how can you do that to me? There's little fuzzies there. My clothes must be dirty. Perfect. So that's 106 of the coconut oil. Ooh. So I curate this for myself and for my friends and my little Bombshell Buddy team. I believe we all should have our own signature scent. I believe mine is peaches. All right, so there goes coconut oil. Next up, castor oil, 18 grams. But I haven't opened this one yet, so I'm just gonna take a peek to see if I have an unopened one. I'll be right back. And I was right, I had a baby one, so we need 18 grams of castor. I need better measuring tools, but it's not as fun. This, I feel like I'm doing how my ancestors would have done. And I love that connection more than anything. So let's get to 18. I know my grandma must have made soap, because my grandma was a Duke boy. She grew up on a farm. So this is a little high, 19. That's okay, it's probably just a little high. Into my, oh, you can't see that. I have a mixing pot here. I use this container because I can use it in the microwave to melt. I could also use my crock pot to melt, but when I have the time to actually put all the ingredients of the soap together, I like to get it done so it can set. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna tear this out. And now next we need 106 grams of palm oil, which is this one here. I love this stuff. It's so beautiful. It kind of looks like Crisco. Maybe it is. But I would rather use something like this than I know I'm controlling these ingredients, right? How can we say that there's quality control these days? It's all done by computers. It's all set it and forget it and come back later. I like the human aspect to this. I like the